Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has used his visit to Uganda to discuss terrorism. He says African countries need to work together.
I learned from my brother and from others that two things are needed above all to defeat terrorism: clarity and courage. Clarity to distinguish good from evil, and courage to confront evil. Clarity is to know that nothing justifies terrorism.
Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has joined Netanyahu in condemning what he's described as cowardly acts by extremists.
Targeting non-combatants marks the boundary between freedom fighters and terrorists, even when the cause is justified.
Museveni has also used the opportunity to call for more cooperation between the two nations. Netanyahu's visit coincides with the 40th anniversary of the famous raid at Uganda's Entebbe airport. In 1976, Israeli commandos rescued more than 100 Israeli hostages from a hijacked plane. Netanyahu's brother, the commander of the operation, was killed during the raid. Isabel Nakiria, CCTV, Kampala.
From Kampala, let's now go to Tel Aviv and get you more perspective on this historic visit. We're joined by CCTV's Stephanie Fried. Stephanie, we just heard there that this is Israel returning to Africa in a big way. What does that mean as far as the significance of this visit is concerned? And what does Israel hope to get out of it?
Well, significance-wise, as we just heard in the report, it's been decades. It's been 3 decades to be exact since an Israeli prime minister has visited sub-Saharan Africa. This is significant in terms of strengthening bilateral ties and creating more ties. If looking basically at the prime minister's entourage, he's traveling with dozens of Israeli business people looking to open up trade between Africa and Israel on the agricultural front, on security, and so on and so forth, basically looking to strengthen economic ties. So Israel, this is the gain. The gain is to strengthen those ties, to create more bilateral ties, and to create opportunities in terms of business and investigate those opportunities together with African counterparts.
Now, of course, Stephanie, this also comes against the backdrop of growing concern over the treatment of African migrants in Israel. Is this likely at all to come up during this visit?
It may very well, bearing in mind that the migrants, the asylum seekers, as they call themselves, in Israel have come mostly from Sudan and Eritrea. And that has been an issue. Tens of thousands in Israel seeking asylum, seeking refugee status. Very few, in fact, just last week, the first person in years of people seeking, applying for, received refugee status. The fact is that because he's not traveling to those countries of origin where the asylum seekers, those who are seeking refugee status are coming from, more the focus would be on Uganda and Rwanda, because Israel struck deals with the heads of those two countries, the leaders, to essentially relocate some of these asylum seekers, offering them the opportunity to go to those two countries. That was hotly debated. It was criticized. So if this comes up, the topic of asylum seekers and the controversy over that, it would expectedly come up with heads of state of Uganda and Rwanda.
And of course, Stephanie, we imagine that security will feature high on the agenda in discussions during this visit. But how is Israel and East Africa, how are they likely to collaborate or engage on security concerns?
Well, there are many, many different platforms, and especially now, as you noted, and as we also heard from the Prime Minister himself in his public address to the people there in Uganda, right now the idea of extremism spreading not only across the Middle East, also across Africa is a concern, certainly to Africa, but as well to Israel. Israel shares a border with Africa along Egypt, the Sinai Peninsula, and so security sharing or security bolstering that relationship could be intelligence sharing, information sharing, but also training. Israel's highly specialized in training security and special security, specifically in the cases of extremism and terrorism. So that could be something that Israel's hoping to market to Africa, which is training, specialized training against terrorism, against operatives there in the various countries that he is visiting.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much, Stephanie Fried, live for us there in Tel Aviv.